Hey everyone, welcome to Game Face Monday. We are live. Hope everyone had a great weekend. I know I did. And we have an awesome show today. Richie, as always, Mr. Richie Bello is sitting by my side, or he allows me to sit by his side. And we also have Paul and Jeff back from Vinsight, and they're going to be talking to us today about IVIN. How you guys doing?
Doing great. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Awesome. How are you, Jeff?
Doing real good.
All right, cool. Looking forward to this. Before we get rolling on the show, just going to run a quick video from our sponsor, Shop Smart Autos, on our SSA VIN retention report. Before you spend another dime on marketing and advertising, inspect what you expect. The SSA VIN retention report from Shop Smart Autos is the answer. Do you know your retention status? You might be losing hundreds of customers a month, but what if you could keep just a few more? Each retained customer means thousands in revenue, adding up to millions per year. The SSA VIN retention report is the inspection tool you've been looking for. Find out what you're missing before it costs you. All right. So, man, that guy's voice gives me nightmares. And that would be me. But anyway, so we all know, things have creeped in on us over the years. We allow these things to creep in, and then it just becomes commonplace, right? So I stare at my phone every day and I say, "Hey Siri," which now my phone's going to go off. And I talk to speakers in my house all the time and tell them to play music and tell me the weather. And we have these experiences in our homes on a daily basis that are all inclusive. They kind of know who you are. They know the type of music you want to hear. They know the weather right where you are, and you get this instant information all the time. Now there's IVIN, and in the automotive world, I've never seen or have experienced anything like it. And IVIN was built by Vinsight in collaboration with Google. And I don't know if anyone has ever heard of Google before, but that says a lot. And yeah, so guys, welcome back to the show.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Jeff, in a quick broad stroke, like a quick version, what is it that the audience needs to understand about IVIN?
Well, IVIN meets the customer where they're at. So it's a personalized experience. What we do is we create a personalized world for the owner to go through the ownership process assisted. And that assistance comes from the dealership. And as they go through the ownership process, they're going to be informed when is the right time to maintain their vehicle. They're going to be able to answer any question from when they were in the F&I office and they did the deal. So information about their first payment or what they paid for the car. And then as they get moving through their ownership period, they can ask IVIN questions like the value of your car at this time. If they're looking to trade the car in, or if their warranty is expiring, they can do this research in a private environment before involving a human at the dealership. Right. And I think that it's that private place for people to perform their research that builds trust. And when it's time to make that purchase decision, they know who to trust because they built it throughout the ownership experience.
Right. And it stinks. I don't like to say it out loud because I'm a communicator. I like talking to people. I like making those phone, but I'm experiencing that like 90% of the public, they just kind of want answers. They want them fast. They don't want to be embarrassed that they have questions. They don't want to. And with IVIN, boom, they asked, who was my sales rep, right? I mean, I don't even want to call a dealership and say, who was the guy that I had that relationship with that I spent all those hours with and I said his name 15 times and now I don't know it. It's like, It's a wonderful thing to be able to, and then
the finance office is a hard place to be for a customer for that hour or hour and a half. Yeah. And you're not going to remember everything about that purchase. So you can save the embarrassment by asking IVIN. Right. And people want that kind of privacy, and it really it really builds trust to be able to do and research stuff inside of a digital environment, especially when it's personalized to you.
Right. And then from a dollar and cents perspective, Paul, how does that impact, revenue? I'm the numbers that I'm, seeing are spectacular. They're unbelievable.
Yeah, well, I think as we're having this conversation, I'm a people person also. I love talking to people. I think that's changing it's a generational thing.
Mm-hmm.
The younger kids today would prefer to communicate online, right? Whereas that wasn't even an option back, when
exactly.
we were their age. So the times are evolving, and the solutions that we bring to the table need to evolve alongside that, right? And evolve with that time. So that's what IVIN is really designed to do. Jeff says, meet people where they're at. And, really at the end of the day, what we're talking about is a tool a dealer branded resource that keeps customers engaged with that dealership post sale.
Right.
That's the magic right there. That's a very difficult thing to solve for. How do I keep my not customer engaged, but actively engaged?
Right.
And so with this resource, IVIN, think of it as an Alexa or a Siri, but specifically for your vehicle and your ownership experience.
Right.
Okay. So, and here's the other thing that I think is important to mention is that, we can all go into ChatGPT and we can ask questions of ChatGPT. I can ask, hey, what type of oil does my 2018 4Runner take? But the reality is, you can't go on to ChatGPT and ask what your warranty covers, right? You can't go on and ask me my next loan payment is due.
Right.
You can go on and ask other things, but what we're trying to do is bring this all within one resource, one go-to resource that simplifies and streamlines all aspects of vehicle ownership and puts the dealership at the center of that enhanced experience.
Yeah, I mean, I got my dog groomed this weekend, right? This sounds nuts, I know, but I got my dog groomed, and I went online, I made the appointment, and the first question I had was, are there any coupons? And I have no idea.
Yeah.
I checked my email. I'm looking around the website. I walked into the groomer, dropped off Obi, who looked like a rag. And I said, are there any coupons? No, there's nothing, but probably next week. Great. I would have waited a week and I would have saved 20% or whatever it is. And IVIN is constantly pulling from the website and knowing if there's offers and specials.
And that's the thing that you're right. I mean, it's that engagement piece is keeping that customer engaged, gives that dealership the ability to stay in front of that customer and really influence that customer's behavior. Right. And it's being proactive about it. Right. Once somebody is, looking for a groomer online to get their dog groomed, it's too late.
Yeah.
That dog groomer needs to be hitting you before you take that action. Because if you're taking that action, Lee, that means that dog groomer is opening you up and allowing you to be that visibility made available to the dog groomer's competition.
Yeah. And I had a conversation.
It's too late.
Across the street about it. Absolutely. Where do you do it?
You got it. And so that's the key, is that engagement piece. And, really what our tool provides is just a direct channel to a captive audience. And given the fact that it's dealer branded, we make it easy for that customer to remain loyal to that dealer. Right. And, you talked about the revenue opportunity. Well, and I'd love talking to Richie about this, because this is Richie's great expertise here. But, what I can say is that, there was a study done that said, I think it was J&L Marketing, said there's like 693, the average dealer is missing out on 693 revenue opportunities per month from their existing customer base. That sounds like an incredible number to me, but once you start looking at what that consists of, it's missed reviews, referrals not captured or converted, service appointments scheduled, right? F&I products, parts and accessories, repeat buyers, right? Trade-ins, all of this stuff, it adds up.
Yeah.
And why is it they're missing out on this? Because they don't have the solve for, and that's what we do. That's IVIN. That's what we solve for.
Right.
But yeah, Richie, you're such a great numbers guy, and I'd love for you to share a little bit about missed opportunities and lost VINs and what that can amount to, and the numbers behind that, because they're so significant.
Yeah, and also your travels, Rich, in Texas. What's going on? What kind of
feedback? And I'm glad you guys brought that up. So one thing is developing the product. The other thing is taking it to market. That's the same way as developing. It's called market research. So I came back really thrilled because everybody I told that to about it, there was 2 customers I told. I also got a call from like a Ring Central platform that's for the automotive sector. They have phones for the automotive sector. So I told them about it. So the only thing that everybody said to me, Richie, how would the users, how is a dealer going to get, if they deliver 100 cars a month, 100 customers on that platform using it? Well, that's pretty easy to say, but that's pretty easy to do, because all you got to show is that as a value to that customer, you as the dealership, and you could probably get more money for a car. Because as we know, that the average age group of buying vehicles is from 25 to 40. That's the marketplace, right? And I'm not like a virtual salesman. I'm a salesman that puts my backpack on, jumps on an airplane, and goes to market and talks to people. In COVID, it was like they threw me completely off, because I was bumping into walls. I wouldn't even know what to do, okay? I'm not that person, right? I'm a different type of person. So based on that, two opportunities. One was with a very big company, and the other was a really good sized company. Tacito, Anthony Tacito, very good friend of mine's, direct mail. Let me tell you what I'm excited about that deal is all the data that he has in fixed ops, including our data with the VIN retention. Talk about missed opportunity. Now, I'm going to answer that, Paul. We lift up the hood of certain stores. So here's what it is. 400 private sellers in a year gone. Now, those cars got sold. Okay. That's service revenue, right? So you talk about service revenue is $1,400 a car times 400 cars. You're talking about what, $3.5 million or something like that?
Yeah.
A year. Okay. Boom, gone. Okay. That's what the VIN retention report does. You see, it's very easy to sell this product when you're in front of somebody and you show it and you key in the VIN retention. Boom. What? Okay. So that's one number. The other number that is telling me is the auctions, the online auctions. What is an online auction? An online auction is nothing more than another private seller department. That's all it is. They call it auctions because people say, well, it's an auction. I could probably get more money for it. Blah, blah, blah. It's bidding. It's this, that. And they're getting entertained at the same time, right? Oh, now there's 250 vehicles that this dealership lost in a year. You're talking 700 vehicles in the private seller network. And by the way, his retention is 8%. So what happened? Well, we ran this store. This store has some issues, but here's where the opportunity is. With a tool like IVIN, that the ROI is so huge, you know. So I urge every dealer in the country and every vendor to get involved with this IVIN platform, because it's a game changer. The two folks that I sat with were very big companies, and that's what they do. They retain service business, okay? And when you look at that and how to get the user, how does a dealership get user to actually download the app? That's real simple. You sell it as part of a value. You don't plant the seed, you plant the mango seed. And you sell it as a value. Well, when you sell that as a value, you include it with your VIP card or you include it with anything like that. It's just going to go.
Yeah.
Because you want those customers, and that's your solution. And as far as integration, well, Richie, how difficult integration is. I got one, and I really mean this. I got the best CTO, Jeff Spring. He's the best that I've seen, okay? He is the best. So as far as integration, you can sleep, right? The integration is done while you wake up in the morning, everybody's getting integrated, right? So as far as that is no problem. But as far as the numbers, you know, when you're talking about something came up in this meetings and both of them, hey, Richie, some of our customers are 70% retention in service, and we're noticing that sales is also getting retained, even though the sales department is terrible. So I went online and I looked at their reviews and I said, wow, you're right, they are terrible. Well, because the person that's selling that car is their service, experience, and relationship. I want you to hear this out. Service, experience, and relationship. So you're doing both, Mr. Customer, even though VinSight follows the journey for service, you're actually doing both. Because if you're retaining your service, folks, you're definitely going to retain your sales, because that salesman might be gone, but that service advisor is not.
Right.
Okay, because there ain't no mobile app in the world that's going to increase retention if you don't retain customers and you don't retain employees. You retain employees, now you retain customers with VinSight, right? Now you got something. In service, you want to retain them without a doubt. I had an opportunity to talk to the store that's at 8%. His average employee for service is 4 years. I told him, how long has your service manager been there and your service director? 18 years. So if you take them out of the equation, he has no retention.
Right.
Yeah.
He's got an average, and that's the first problem. And I say, even if you don't retain your employees that great, IVIN is the retention. Why? Because that employee says, this dealership really cares about this place, because he's got an AI bot that's communicating with the customer. So they're really, really into the service business. This is where I'm going to stay.
Right.
You know, yeah. Morale is a big driving force sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, morale's a very important thing. I always looked, when I was in sales, at a morale issue. Morale's key, because if the morale's not there, there is nothing to talk about.
Yeah. And Paul, now that IVIN's been out in beta form for a few months, what kind of stats we look? I've seen some staggering things about the open rates and people actually using it.
You know, we talked about engagement, right? That active engagement post sale, which is such a challenge. But with, you know, VinSight and our AI bot IVIN, you know, this, by the way, this whole process that we're talking about, our deliverables, is they're fully automated.
Right.
Everything that we do without the dealership lifting a finger. Okay.
Right.
And Richie, you're talking about sales reps and retention, and you know what we're doing is automating that customer relationship, the maintenance of that relationship, and providing that value. And we're doing that all on an automated basis to drive that retention revenue back to the dealership. So from a sales rep's perspective, they love what we do, because our automation makes them more money without them having to do anything, right? Without them having to lift a finger.
Nothing.
So the dealers love us, the sales reps love us. But yes, Lee, to answer your question, right now we have, I think the number is just a little north of 80% on average of the individuals that
Wow.
once they are delivered this post-sale engagement tool, dealer branded tool, go-to resource, over 80% of customers are going into that tool at least the first time. Now that's the easy part, I will suggest to you.
Right.
I just bought my car. I'm excited. I want to, I got this new cool go-to resource. I'm going to click on and check it out. But the nice thing about that is we can take advantage of that 80% to get customers to do things, right? We take advantage of that excitement. We leverage that excitement, give a review or give a referral, or it's taking the action to download this IVIN app, which is this AI-driven ownership experience.
Right.
That's taking ownership experience to the next level. So that's the piece. The more useful a tool is, the more I'm going to use it, right? So Jeff, what would you say about that?
You know what? I'm glad that you transitioned to me on that thought, because that's exactly what we're doing here that's different. We've got a market where you have higher and higher cost for using legacy marketing channels like search and social and email, right? That are performing less and less. ROI is shrinking. The returns are diminishing for those types of channels. So why is IVIN going to be different? It's because we engage in what I would call a two-way value exchange, where conversion is happening naturally when the customer already sees value. So we talked about how IVIN helps direct customers into the service department by giving them the fastest possible way to schedule service. But if they've already received guidance and reminders and insights, and this has all simplified their ownership experience, that conversion to a service appointment is just going to happen naturally. Customers don't engage with marketing. They engage with value. And IVIN's goal is to constantly provide value, be a trusted resource that owners can know they can get answers that are useful to them throughout their ownership journey. And that usefulness translates into comfort and trust with the dealer's brand.
Right. And go into a little more specifics on how IVIN connects to the OEMs and pulls all the information that they need.
Well, what we do is we take all the user's manuals and supplements that would come with the vehicle, and we ingest those into the bot so that the bot knows all about your specific vehicle.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we know the maintenance timeline the manufacturer recommends for your vehicle, and we're able to time messages based on signals that we find either in the dealer's DMS, the CRM, or from information that you've given us as the vehicle owner. We know where you are in that ownership journey, and we know what to recommend because we've personalized this to the VIN number, your vehicle, your specific vehicle.
Right. Yeah. And Paul and Rich, like I was saying earlier, and Jeff, yeah, I'm a communicator, and I might go around some of this at times, and sometimes I do want quick answers. But one thing I will tell you is I gave up the roadmap a long time ago, and I used to have my maps and my tick trips or whatever they were called from AAA. And then when that GPS, I said, I'm never going to do this. Just like texting, I'm never going to email. I'm GPS in it. And definitely owner's manual. I can't that thing. That is probably the most pristine thing that I have in my life is my owner's manual, because it sits in that until the car is gone, you know.
But you know what? You may be even an advanced automotive user. So maybe you get in a car and you're going to intuitively figure out how some of its systems work. Everybody's not like that. Right. Okay. So when you get a car, you need to train yourself, especially on certain things that are going to annoy you. Safety features, lane departure assist starts barking at you. How do you use your car? How, you know, obviously the first thing that everybody does with their vehicle immediately is how do you pair your phone to it? Right? How are you going to use your technology with its technology? These are questions that, you know, get answered in the owner's manual. So you can hit the index with your fingers if you'd like, or you could just ask IVIN, because it'll retrieve exactly the information that you need. And you don't have to be near the owner's manual. I don't know about you, but I think about how some of these things work when I'm watching the news at night from my couch. You know, it's not always convenient to get that information there. And you can train yourself about your vehicle at your own pace.
Right. Yeah. And I want to remind the audience, although Jeff is a technology guy and he knows all the ins and outs of the code and the processes and all that kind of stuff, he works on vehicles as well. Don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
And on that note, I'm just going to break away for 1 minute to check in with JP with a retention minute.
Hey guys, JP Burkemper with Insight. Most dealers spend all their energy on the sale, closing the deal, moving the unit, hitting the monthly numbers. But what happens after that? You know, too often the customer drives off the lot and never comes back. That's a problem, because if you're only focused on the sale, you're leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table over the lifetime of that customer. Think about it: service, appointments, accessories, F&I products, trade-ins, repeat purchases. Now, a single customer isn't just worth one sale. They're worth multiple over the lifetime of that customer journey. The best dealers are the ones that have the mindset: how do I sell this car? But also, how can I keep them as a customer for as long as possible? This means consistent follow-up, personalized offers, and making sure every interaction after the sale is just as intentional as the ones before it. See, retention is not just a department, it's a culture. And the dealerships that get that right aren't just selling cars, they're building loyal customers every day. So, are you treating your buyers like transactions, or are you turning them into loyal customers who don't have the choice of going anywhere else? Because with Insight, you sell them and we keep them coming back.
All right, Richie. So through VinSight, dealers can get their hands on an SSA VIN retention report, right? Complimentary. Take a look at their data. What are your thoughts on this? The power of these two mechanisms coming together.
Let's talk about this. So what others are doing? The VIN retention report is a tool.
Yeah.
Is a tool to show the dealership if he's having a problem or he might not be having a problem. So let's say we pull up a report and they're at 65%. Now let's see the data. Are they losing the private sellers? What are they, where is it, right? Where can we pick up 10%? You know, when you talk about a dealership getting 10% more, you're talking about millions of dollars. Millions.
Yeah.
So even if you, Mr. Dealer, are at 60, with this kind of engagement, it's going to be easier for you to be at 90, because you already are doing a great job with your reviews. You're doing a great job with your retention, employee retention. You're doing a great job with your morale. Now you tie in VinSight, and now that's going to scale right up. That's going to be your game changer.
You know, Richie, a lot of dealerships rely on either their own in-house guesses or the guesses of their marketing company to formulate an after-sale timeline for communications. Most of these are just impersonal blast email messages that go out to these customers. And like you said earlier, their relationship with the service department really determines whether they are going to come back in and get their vehicle serviced or not. But with VinSight, what happens with VinSight is that you don't have to mastermind the marketing plan. We're communicating with the customer on your behalf automatically. And we're engaging with that customer right when they need to be engaged with, according to what position their vehicle is in.
Right.
And that makes it a proactive and personalized outreach, which customers are just more convinced to interact with.
Yeah.
For the last 20 plus years, third-party leads have been a nightmare. Now that VinSight came in, third-party leads is not a nightmare. Let me tell you why. I've been a lead gen for a long time, okay? No more does Cars.com and all these companies control that audience, because by you getting VinSight and that third-party lead that bought a car from you and you communicating with them, they're going to come back to you. Because guess why everybody goes to Cars.com, Cars Guru and all that? Because they communicate with everybody that's a lead on an email and an SMS now.
Yep.
So watch this. Why don't third-party leads work? For that reason, because once they buy the car from you, the next time they're in the market, they go back. So the cost is increasing. You're able to build now, Mr. Dealer, your database stronger and better. Why do customers come back when you buy a car from Cars.com for service? It's either a recall or warranty. There's a noise in the car or something. They have no other choice but to come back. Oh, with VinSight, it's being proactive. You're being proactive to your customers. Now, awareness is a very important word, and proactive is key. If you have somebody in the team that's proactive, you have a team. If you have somebody in the team that's aware, you got something good. If you have people on your team that are not either aware and not proactive, it's very easy to fail. Okay. Well, this thing makes you aware as a dealer and being proactive.
Yeah, and I think that's a key aspect, Richie. And one of the things that I think is important to mention here or differentiate. A lot of times we talk to dealers about that they're able to communicate to your customers and identify taking these service opportunities, sending out service reminders, et cetera. But we identify these help dealers identify and capitalize on post-sale revenue opportunities in two different ways. One is our communications. Now, why is that different than what the dealer is currently doing? It's really simple. It's because we're giving the dealership the ability to now send push notifications. Guys, push notifications are 5 to 10 times more effective than emails.
Right.
Okay. It's the most effective communication channel that exists.
Without a doubt.
We give the dealer that ability to enhance what they're currently doing. Right.
I literally just glanced at my phone right now.
There it is.
I saw the glow.
What you had no choice but to see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're very, very effective. Now, that's number one, communications. We can help a dealer as far as what they're currently doing. We can add value to what they're currently doing. Now, here's the other way we can identify and capitalize on revenue opportunities that I can assure you nobody's doing. And it's using our AI-driven ownership experience, IVIN. When I remember, we're using the customer's engagement with this tool, and we're applying intent detection to that engagement,
Right.
Okay, to determine the intent behind the question. We talked about oil earlier, I think. What type of oil do I need? Well, IVIN what type of oil do I need? I don't need to say what for my 2015, this year make. Just say what type of oil do I need? We use AI to go in and find that answer. And in this example, we're going to find that IVIN's going to find that answer and extract that answer from the owner's manual. I don't have to pull it out, open it up, leaf through it like you're talking about, Lee. I just get I just ask the question, I get the immediate answer. That's how people today want their information. They want it immediately, right at their fingertips. But so here's the thing, though. Once that customer asks about oil, what type of oil do they need? How much do they? Intent detection is going to determine the intent behind that question, and it's going to be able to tee up the question. Would you like to get, do you need to get your oil changed? Right. And because we have our AI functionality that can go in and scrub the dealer's website, any oil change coupons or specials, IVIN can extract that. So if I'm asking about oil, hey, just want to let you know that Hometown Motors is currently offering an oil change, just, special for $89.99. Would you like to schedule your oil change appointment now?
Exactly.
Yes or no? If yes, boom, they can schedule that appointment right then and there. That's how we're driving revenues, guys, back to the dealership. It's not just outreach. It's not just push notifications, emails, text messages. It's all of that, but it's also something that is completely novel, right, to this marketplace, is now using the customer's own engagement to better identify and capitalize on revenue opportunities that, here's the thing, guys, that otherwise would have slipped through the cracks.
Right.
Right. That's the key.
And let me just say this, only because I've been in this retention game a little bit. You have car dealer, Curtis, he's got a great tool. Just putting those things out there, his stores are up on retention. Tuxedo has a great tool. You see his data. You see how he drives those customers into the showroom. Unbelievable tool with the barcodes and all that. Great tools. Great tools. Market Pro, an amazing product they have. But in combination with this AI is a game changer, because they keep doing what they do and integrate IVIN. There's relationships already with those stores, with the customers. The customers are used to their service reminders and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's a game changer. It's going to increase better retention, and it's going to help them understand, because when you send out a direct mail, there's nowhere, with a customer trading, or you can ask a question. Listen, I'm looking to trade my car, because that's the thing, right? Customers are going online, right, and seeing what I'm going to get for my car. And then they say, I can't get that for my car. I'll sell it to a private seller. Private seller is a big thing, because when you lose 400 cars in a private seller a year, you're looking at $3.5 million. It's a big thing.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at 200 that you lost at those online auctions, you're looking at what, $1.5 million, $1.7 million. That's like a report of lost revenue, of lost sales.
Right.
And with IVIN, it's going to help them engage with that customer. You might find out through that chat that customer might come back for service, and he might be happy. He just perceived, I got a noise, I'm done with this car. He might go on that chat. You might fix it.
Yeah. And there's no dealership that's not losing customers. Even if their retention is 75%.
You got it.
Even if they save 2 customers a year, they've paid for
that's key. That's key, because I think it's we love the SSA VIN retention report, because it provides us, it's almost like a magnifying glass. Like we can look right into this, and we can get facts, we can get statistics, right. We can see actual numbers. We're not, hey, I think I'm doing pretty good on retention. I get this, oh, I'm set on customer retention. We're already doing that. All right. Well, let's take a look and see how your current efforts, how they're doing, so we can run this report. But to your point, I mean, we don't usually see retention in excess of, I think 50-60% is pretty rare. But even that, so it first can identify, the report can identify a problem if it exists, but it's also identifying the opportunity, right? And to your point, even if a dealer is at 60, 70%, there's still, right, 40% that they're missing.
It could be
Yeah.
dominated.
Do we want to just ignore that?
Right.
Or do we want a solution that can go in and drive that retention rate higher?
Yeah.
Automatically.
Yeah.
That's odd, and do it on an automated
He
basis.
says it all the time. Even if you
And
up
extremely
5%.
cost-effective automated basis, like
Right.
you said, Lee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right
Rich,
there.
Rich says it all the time. Even if you uptick 5%, isn't it worth it? So
Yeah.
if you're losing 40%, you don't want to make that 35 and make hundreds of thousands of dollars. It just
think about this, right? What IVIN really does. Yes, what Paul said, he's right. Yes, what Lee, absolutely right. Jeff, you're absolutely right. It does something else. It increases your reputation. Your customers are happy. Now those customers are going to give you a good review.
Well, absolutely.
Also, it's going to increase your service CSI.
Indeed.
All right, index. That's big. And it's going to increase your CSI. Why? Because of the communication process.
Yeah, you know, Lee, it's interesting.
It just doesn't do.
I mean, Rich, sorry.
When I said that in Texas, they looked at me like I was from Mars. And they says, "Oh, you're right." I says, "Yeah, because why do you think that these reviews are so bad? Why do you think that CSI is so bad? Because a customer has a problem, they call a dealership, dial 2 for service, rerouting. You're calling from a cell phone. You're dealing with towers. The phone gets disconnected. The customer doesn't know that that phone got disconnected because of them. They perceive it as it's them. They hung up on me. You don't have that problem. Guess what's going to happen? Your CSI is going to bounce and your review is going to get up. Because you know how many people are tired of that automated system on a dealership?
Right.
And there's nobody they can talk to. These people are hearing a noise on the car. They're concerned that it could be the engine, and they can't call anybody.
That's right.
They can't call anybody, okay? So just imagine all these points that IVIN has. It's like, after I said all that, you don't want IVIN. Okay, so you don't want to increase your retention. You don't want to increase more revenue, and you don't want to increase your CSI. So the OEMs give you more benefit out of it, and you don't want to increase your Google reviews. So that all things you don't want to increase. Thank you. I got to go now.
Yeah. Keeping your customers with power in their hands 24 hours a day.
Yeah,
Right, because that's what it does. It's not only the IVIN thing, and that's why I went right to market with it when it was done. The IVIN thing is so much more than increasing your service, increasing your sales. CSI, reviews. Customers are going to start getting a good experience only because they're able to reach out. Try reaching out to a dealership and click 2 for service and watch what happens.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, if the warranty clerk picks up, the guy or the girl that goes into that warranty keyword, he picks up the phone. Hold on, my service manager will be right with you. Sure. They put that on hold. That goes into a thing called orbit.
Richie, it's about brand perception. You know what I mean? You
That
gotta actually have an experience that people will want to talk about. So we're hoping that customers that have IVIN in their pocket will literally be telling other customers, hey, you should have this experience. You shouldn't have to call in and press 2 and get that. This is the experience you need to have.
Yeah.
So it's about brand perception. All of these touch points along the ownership process, they make the customer perceive that somebody at the dealership is looking out for them.
Guys, I'm going to just quickly interject. Quick story. I had a conversation with a Chevy dealer, one of our customers, who loves our product so much that he invested in the company, by the way. Okay. But we were having this conversation. He said, you know what? It used to be about CSI. Now it's all about customer retention, and specifically how it relates to the 12 to 18 month time frame. Right. Dealers are losing these customers left and right. We have created VinSight and IVIN to change that. That's how you are going to sell them. We're going to keep them coming back. That's what we do, guys. Bottom line.
Yeah. Awesome.
And that's good. But CSI, Paul, is important. You know why?
Oh, absolutely.
Something called allocation.
Yes.
A little thing there. And that
small little thing.
That's what this thing with VinSight does really, really good. Yep. The folks that I have concentrate on the service index, right? Which is important, and retention is key. This tool has so many different things that is a game changer, that whatever the price is, it's too cheap. I mean, really, no, really. When you come to think of it, of all the stuff that this thing has, whatever the price is, it's too cheap, because you would need people to focus on just the phone itself. And the other thing is, one of the things this chat does that VinSight has is talk about parts. You try calling a part department, okay? They're worse than sales and service. Okay. And then they tell you in a recorded line, if this is urgent, please email me at Richie@ABC Motors. There's plenty of stores that do that. I want to have a live show, Lee, with me and a few others about what's the experience of a customer communicating in a dealership. It's like a nightmare. For sure. So that's where this VinSight is so key, because it's a communication platform that's paying attention to your customer while your people are busy doing other stuff. It's funneling that customer right to you.
That's it.
So it's an appointment setter for you when that customer calls you. And it ain't like, Mr. Dealer, you don't have a problem. You know why you have a problem. A customer calls you that they need service, they need to get help, and it goes in orbit. And by the way, orbit is called on these VoIP that you put it on hold and it goes into orbit. And that's it. Once it goes to orbit, it rings 5 times in that phone. If that warranty person walks out and gets coffee, on the 5th ring, it's over. They're still on hold. Now what you're getting is a customer pissed off. I've already known, I've already done that test. I already have a lot of partnerships that are in that field as Ring Central for the automotive sector. Not from now, from a couple of years ago. And I talk to people, how do you know if a product is right? And how do you know all this kind of content? By communicating with people that are out there in the marketplace, like myself, So when you start listening to, wow, really? And the experience when you call a dealership as a customer is terrible.
Anywhere these days.
I don't even take, like, when I go to see a dealership or something, if he doesn't give me his cell phone, the manager, the general manager, I just say, well, I'm not going to call you at this number, because I'll waste an hour here and I'll never get through to you. When you try calling dealerships, it's like a nightmare. Unless you got somebody's cell phone, it's different. Try prospecting a dealer, it ain't going to work if you call him on the phone. So imagine the customer experience. It is. So this is a product line that's needed desperately in our industry. Not only that, it was put together with the funding from Google, right? The grant. So obviously, let's take a deep dive on that with Jeff. Obviously, Google sees something that we need to point out. Jeff?
Yeah, Google actually a couple of years ago did a research project with Volkswagen, and the concept was putting these manuals into the hands of their artificial intelligence. And it increased customer satisfaction and retention And Google's not in the business of commercializing such a software like that. This was an experiment that they were doing with Volkswagen, an automotive partner, that proves the efficacy of their technology. And next week, we're attending the Google Next conference, where there's a breakout session about this particular study that they did with Volkswagen. And they've invited us there because we're the first people that are commercializing that tech. So
that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, they do a lot to assist automotive players, and a lot of their research really benefits the industry.
That's awesome. Yeah, if Google's involved, you know something's going right. So
Yeah.
I see you got what do you got there, Lee?
Oh, this is my favorite comic book. No, I'm just kidding. This is Richie's fourth book. I've been talking about it every single week. It gets a little blurry because my background's blurry. Let data take the wheel. It's on Amazon. Every penny over cost goes to stopsoldiersuicide.org. The book is selling very well, but not well enough. We need to take care of our soldiers. And Richie has made it his mission to help our vets. So I have no problem talking about that every week until, 10 million copies are sold. And gentlemen, thank you so much for being on the show again. I'm really looking forward to having you back, and I know Richie is too. Richie,
Great.
as always, thank you for having me by your side.
Thank you for being there.
Yeah, and we'll be back again on Monday with a whole new show. And I know at least Paul and probably Jeff will be back again soon when we start to realize that IVIN and VinSight are taking over the planet.
Yeah,
Well,
we're excited because there's a lot of points here, 5 or 6 points. I got much more that on the road I learned. There's a lot of things that there's no reason why this IVIN shouldn't be in every dealership as a household name. Really, there's not. Just customers need to know more about, dealers need to know more about IVIN. Vendors that can integrate with us need to know more about IVIN.
Yeah.
Need to know more about the points that IVIN does. It ain't just a one thing with IVIN, and we're blessed that we have this opportunity with IVIN, and we're grateful. And within this process, we met a great person, Paul, Jeff, and JP. Great people, great organization. There's no reason why you won't do business with them. Let me tell you, they'll do whatever it takes to earn your business.
Thanks for your vote of confidence, Richie.
Absolutely.
God
Love
bless
you.
you all. Thank you,
Appreciate it, guys.
and stay in touch.
Enjoyed it. Absolutely.
Definitely. And thanks to everyone watching and listening out there, and we'll catch up with you soon.